We have heard a lot about Tantra. We have a joke that Tantra and football, everybody knows everything about it, but in reality, nobody knows exactly what they are. And now later, with all these fashion trends, women need a tribe, let's awaken the goddess, let's play with Shakti, and so on. It became quite famous without being actually known. So I would like to go together with you in sharing a little bit what is this concept of Shakti in the very old and spiritual tantric tradition.
Yes, that's wonderful. So you also have a PowerPoint presentation, which I hope that all our participants can see. If not, please write in the chat box down on the page. And as you said, Shakti, we are very curious to find out what Shakti is. Can you tell us in your own words what this term Shakti means?
So, of course, Shakti is a Sanskrit word, and in a very direct translation, Shakti means energy or power. And a little bit about Tantra. Before speaking about Shakti, we should understand a little bit what this esoteric tantric tradition is. So Tantra is, we can call it spiritual science, which speaks about the human being. So Tantra describes how a human being is built and functions, and what are the main, let's say, features that build up a human being, and the interaction of the different bodies and subtle structures and energies and so on. And with a very, very short definition, we can say that Tantra is a science about the energy that builds up the human being in all its angles or levels. And as little bit we know, energy is always manifested as a movement or as an interaction between two poles. In order for us to obtain energy and actually even to have this conversation, we need electric power, or we need batteries in our laptops or in our phones or whatever. So all these batteries, let's call them like that, are built by two poles. They cannot function if they don't have two poles, a plus and a minus pole, which interact with each other. It is the same with the very subtle and refined energy that actually builds up our very life. We need an interaction between a plus pole and the minus pole. And in the tantric tradition, these plus and minus have been identified from very high levels of frequency or vibration to the very concrete levels of vibration with the masculine and the feminine. And we call them, in poetical words, the eternal feminine, in correspondence with this lunar feminine energy, minus as a polarity, but not as a value. And with the plus pole, we call it masculine, or we call it the supreme consciousness, or we call it Shiva in comparison with Shakti. So Shiva and Shakti in Tantra, there are two major features. We cannot understand energy if we do not understand that there is plus part of this energy with a minus part, that they always interact, and through their interaction, energy is produced, and this energy, structured in different levels of vibration, build up everything. And now, of course, I would like to say from the very beginning that we cannot say that either of the poles is better or nicer or more important than the other one, as a little bit there is a trend. So because we have grown up in a society which is very based and rooted on masculine values, we are all living in a patriarchal society on which competitiveness and measuring forces and who's the best and who shouts louder and who's fighting and so on prevails, and we are kind of educated to go for more and step and thrive and rise on the costs of the other. So in this patriarchal viewpoint, the return of the mother goddess, as my seminar is called, means to regain the awareness of the fact that life itself will not be possible if minus in the battery of the life force will not be present. And ignoring the polarities and the roles of the polarities and saying, I want electricity in my house, but I just value, and the most important is the plus pole, which, by the way, in the socket, I know a little bit in England, for example, there are 3 pins in the socket, but in Europe, all around, there are only 2, and we learn in the school that on one is coming the plus part of the electric current, and on the other one the minus. If you do not have them both, you don't have power inside. And if you do not have in a battery plus and minus together, equally complementing each other, supporting each other, helping each other, we can say, you cannot have energy inside and your device is dead. So regaining this awareness of the fact that equally important are the feminine values, we actually regain and conquer back a lot of our hearts. And as I said, Tantra views these 2 poles, masculine and feminine, as present from the very high levels. And they speak about the Supreme Shiva and the Supreme Shakti. It gives names to these realities and so on. But then lowering the frequency of vibration on our life, on the planet, here on Earth, we have the very beautiful manifestation of the masculine consciousness in any aware man, in a man who is masculine and strong and powerful and displays in a very harmonious way the masculine qualities. And similar, we have the Shakti embodiment in each woman who is working consciously and willingly to blossom her feminine qualities, and as we will see by the end of the seminar, goes through some necessary steps in order to blossom these feminine qualities. So as you, I hope, see on the PowerPoint there on the presentation, Shakti beautifully in Tantra is the expression of the eternal feminine, and they call it the mother goddess, and it is the one unifying all the nuances of what femininity stands for. And I'll move you a little bit to this nuances of femininity somehow. So we spoke about the Tantra and how the things work. And here you have some nuances of femininity. No, I think they are upwards. We move back a bit. Yeah. So aspects of Shakti, we have the mother who gave birth to everything, the universal energy, all the types of femininity, like the seductive woman, the devoted sister or partner or friend, female friend, which comes with counseling, also the initiated mistress, also the wise woman. We have the women on all ages, we have the purity, and we have the immaculate virgins, and the symbol of the virgins with their qualities and virtues is present all over in all the history and traditions. But we have also the blossomed women, which are the one complementing their wonderful men. And I hope all our participants know that there is a saying who goes that behind any powerful man is a very strong and wonderful woman, exactly pointing out that one without the other is incomplete and cannot stand. And then we have the women growing wise and blossoming in their full potential as adult and as beautiful, like women in all their splendor and power. And then we have the wise women, those for which any wrinkle and any spot on their skin or on their body is actually a sign of gorgeous lessons that they have accomplished and from where they extract their wisdom. And also, of course, we have the tantric view of the goddess who grants divine or godly gifts, or a force that resides in these spiritual women. And within each and every one of us, we have a masculine and a feminine side. The masculine side of everyone, regardless if it is a man or a woman, stands for the consciousness, the awareness, lucidity, courage, intelligence, discrimination, power, force, like everything that is harmoniously and masculine in everybody. And the feminine side of us resides in the fundamental energy in Kundalini Shakti, and also in the soul values, in the love, in the nurturing, in the kindness, in the tenderness, in care for the others, in consideration, and many, many other qualities. So all these, they play inside of us, build us as a wonderful human being, and also outside they manifest in men and women and in the game between them.
Yes, thank you. That's a very valuable insight on Shakti. And because we speak about Shakti, also related to Tantra, let us give our participants a true, profound understanding of Tantra as you see it. What is actually Tantra?
So I started a little bit about the Tantra approach, but I would like to come a little bit to this feminine destiny, because how this return of the mother goddess, as we call it, is happening is because we have reached in the history nowadays a moment in which, at least for, I don't want to give numbers, but a big number of women, life is more than it was 100 years ago or 200 years ago. If we look throughout the history, and especially the modern history of the Western part, the woman was in antiquity considered somehow a possession of the man, and then through the new age, it was a very dark period in which any kind of woman with opinions was considered almost a witch and burned to the stake. And then it was a very delicate condition women had. And then little by little, women condition improved, women emancipated, feminist movements kind of tilt the balance, but not in a harmonious way, but into an effort to impose that also women do exist and make the voice of women be heard, still on a background of a conflictual position with men. Throughout this, somehow, women were isolated, so to speak, either in families, and they were considered to take care, that their destiny is to take care of the children and stay in the kitchen and do the dishes and cook, and that's it. Or they were kind of like men's possessions as great mistresses. By the way, one of my favorite lectures is biographies of amazing women. And of course, amazing women that history knows and remembers are the queens, but also the mistresses of the great kings. And from that position of being the lovers, they were heard, but still in kind of a secrecy, and as if their voice was not worthy to appear equally standing with the men. Anyhow, in nowadays, these things, hopefully, at least for the Western world, has changed. And we kind of, as women, started to make a difference and started to prove not only the abilities, because for sure nobody really questioned that, but what was questioned, it was the position. And instead of fighting with the men to compete in kind of areas where it's not worthy to compete, why would a woman need to prove that she can lift as much weight as a man can, or she can do, I don't know what kind of very difficult physical task, because men and women are equally, but not the same. They are equally valuable and they are equally unique, but in their own specific way. And finally, technology and modern life and how we live our lives nowadays leave place for women to ask what's the meaning of one's life and what's the destiny. And here it comes exactly the voice of Tantra, because to these major questions, like who am I and what's the meaning of my life, where I am coming from, where am I going after death, and what's the purpose of one's life, it is only a spiritual path that can answer. And here Tantra comes as a beautiful, I dare say, answer, in which through direct experience, everybody is invited to find her own answers. So the ageless spirituality of Tantra Yoga shines like a guiding star in this like universe of possibility nowadays, and trends and movements, and everybody is spiritual in a different way and wants to be unique. And what makes Tantra to stand as a genuine force is the fact that it is based on personal practice and on personal experience. So we can say that Tantra teaches us how a human being is built and how it functions, giving concrete techniques. If you do these techniques, including body postures, types of breathing, exercises of focusing the mind, concentration, types of meditation, and so on, you will actually discover what it's said in the scripture, that the human being is built of several bodies with the chakras, which are the force centers that work inside. They are placed in a certain way. They resonate with different frequencies, with different energies. And here I would like to say that it's not only Tantra who speaks about the reality of how a human being is built and how it functions. There are, of course, also other spiritual paths, but the idea is that it is exactly like anatomy, the subtle anatomy of a human being. They cannot be different one from another, because exactly like no matter where you study anatomy, if you study anatomy in States or if you study anatomy in France, the human body is the same, the heart is the same, the lungs are the same, the liver is the same, everything is the same. So even if you call it with other names, what you discover when you search how the physical body functions is the same. The same with the reality of chakras. Tantra Yoga speaks about chakras, Hatha Yoga speaks about chakras, other spiritual currents speaks about chakras, and it's normal to be like this because this is our subtle anatomy. With different names, we would discover the same thing, that the energy of love, you feel it in the chest and it shines in a specific way, and that is in connection to what is called the heart chakra. We discovered that all the inspiration and thoughts, they are kind of appearing in the head area and they are connected with the forehead, and thus we all reached to the conclusion that definitely the mental chakra is supposed to be placed somewhere here, because we say we feel it inside how it is. Not mentioning about the erotic chakra, everybody who ever was excited was absolutely clear where the erotism came from and what part of the body got hot in that moment, showing the presence of the energy. And all these kind of things place this part of the Tantra Yoga above being, let's say, a matter of belief or a matter of blind faith. It is a matter of experience. If you practice those exercises, you discover how you function. And then, little by little, through knowing and learning about the spiritual principles that form the basis of our life, Tantra is actually offering the possibility that everybody discovers the meaning of her existence as a woman, for example. And here Of course, through personal practice and through intuitions and realization and guidance, every woman will give her answer to this great question. And thus, Tantra Yoga says that hopefully everybody will realize that we, each and every one of us, manifest a very unique nuance of femininity, or in other words, we can call it poetically, we are one of the daughters of the great mother goddess who awakens inside of us. So it's very famous nowadays, this concept. I like it, though it's a bit misused, but we do reveal the godly nature we have inside, and thus we awaken the goddess within. And that's the return of the mother goddess.
Yes, and the goddess, we can also call her Shakti.
Exactly. That's the name which is given in Sanskrit, one of the names, but in very translation, Shakti means force of nature or great energy or feminine power. That's like the very translation. And now, of course, in every one of us manifests differently, and that here is the beauty of being a woman, because there are so many nuances of this awakening.
So in this case, Adina, what would you say would be the steps implied to awaken the state of Shakti or the goddess within?
So we put together in this presentation how to awaken the mother goddess or how to become a Shakti. And within this context, Shakti would mean an awakened woman. I would say, if you want a definition in the context of this seminar, Shakti means a woman who is aware that inside of her it exists this force which manifests in the physical body in a certain way, giving to the physical body a certain appearance and offering like some functions, of course, the motherhood, the lover part, the nurturing and all the care and everything, but also who has a destiny and who has to collaborate and work together with the masculine side in order to fulfill their common destiny. And that's why, by the way, relationships are such a great chapter for harmonizing this state of Shakti. So if you want to read from the presentation, how to become a Shakti means actually how to become an awakened woman, aware about this force which comes not from us, but from a godly source and manifests through each and every one of us. And the very first step, even if it sounds funny, it is to accept the condition of being a woman. In the experience I have, with the experience I have, and being together with maybe thousands of women so far, I actually came to learn that there are so many women who are either indifferent about the fact that they are women or forgetting about this reality, or even worse, denying it and hoping, or I don't know, sometimes cursing the fact that they are born as women. So without centering in our true heart, deep inside our soul, and fully embracing the condition of being a woman in this life, we cannot actually start to awaken this force within, because it will be like you are something, but you all the time want to be something else. And before going to the second step, so step one would be the beginning, this acceptance of the state of Shakti, or the fact that we are women, and this is a major part of our destiny. And before being anything else, a great teacher, a president of a country, a doctor, whatever, a mother, an exemplary model in society, whatever, before anything of that, we are women. That's like the first thing. If we don't start with this and we want to just be a label, a career, a business card, or something else, we will always feel this gap and our inner structures will not be aligned And this force and this energy will not flow through all the structures. It will be gaps inside, and it will give this schizophrenic perspective. And here I have, and I will take the chance to say a little joke, even our time is so little, about the destiny of the woman and an awakened woman. It was, the joke goes that a wonderful woman dies. We all die, it's a reality. And because, of course, she was a virtuous woman, she goes to heaven. And you know, at the gate of heaven is Saint Peter with many keys. And then he's asking, who are you and why do you want to enter in heaven? And then the woman answers, I am Adina, for example. And before saying anything else, Saint Peter interrupts her and says, I didn't ask your name. I asked, who are you and why do you believe you belong to heaven? And then she would continue, I am the wife of my husband, saying the name. And Saint Peter would interrupt her saying, I didn't ask who's your husband. I asked, who are you? And then the woman would say, I am a Tantra teacher and I did so many good things and so on. And Saint Peter would answer, I didn't ask what you did in your life. I didn't ask your profession. I didn't ask anything of that. I just asked, who are you? And then, you know, the joke goes, and of course she can say, I'm the mother of these wonderful children, or I am, I don't know, I realized this and that. And through all these things, Saint Peter says, I ask, who are you? Not who are your children, or who are your disciples, or who are your nephews, or anything like that. And in the end, actually, the joke goes that the woman is like lifting her shoulders, and she said, I don't know who I am. And Saint Peter says, therefore, you go back down there and you will aim to find who you are, and then you can enter in the heaven. So this joke that my spiritual guide actually told it, Mr. Gregorian Bivolaru, impacted me quite a lot, because I realized that we actually do not know who we are, and we try so desperately to find out our identity, and we do not start from this acceptance. I'm a woman and I have these qualities, I have this kind of physical features, I have these virtues of the heart, I have this inner power in my soul, and after that I can employ all this to realize something. But before that, I'm just an embodiment of this femininity. So that would be the beginning and the meaning and the starting of one's destiny. And of course, a step 2 in becoming an awakened woman would be to learn about womanhood and to learn about the Shakti concept. And that's this little seminar, webinar, it's having as a hope to invite all of you to consider it like an appetizer, and to, of course, eventually join courses in which, or Tantra for Women courses, or Tantra courses, or yoga courses, in which these concepts are taught in details, much more than we can do in 1 hour. So learning about this womanhood, in the attempt to become a true woman, everyone will naturally become spiritual, because every human being is, in reality, ultimately speaking, a godly spirit having a material form and being supported by what we call the life force. So in the quest of finding who she is, a woman naturally will reveal her spirituality and her spiritual heart. And then a step, that was too much, a step, where am I? 1 second. Step 3, in becoming an awakened woman, it will appear this necessity to connect with this inner power that awakens, what we call it the state of Shakti, this energy inside. So for any woman, a great part of her meaning in life is to discover her unique features, and thus to become the perfect woman she is meant to be, and actually to realize that there is a space and a place for each and every one of us, and we do not need to be a version of our mother or a version of, I don't know what, pop star or actress that we like, but we could be a wonderful and great version of ourselves, and that will make us the most happy actually. And because we cannot be happy if we are not genuine and if we do not share what we really have inside, but we just pretend that we are something else. So this third step in understanding the necessity, intrinsic necessity of awakening the state of Shakti will include, for example, different tools that a woman can employ. And we will learn in these courses, that this seminar is just a crash presentation, that the state of Shakti, the awakened woman, the spiritual woman, manifests differently at different levels. And basically the Tantra yoga practice and science describes that the human being manifests on three major levels. On physical level, and this physical level is supported by the energy of life. On astral level, and I'll speak in a bit that the astral level is built by the feelings, thoughts, reasoning, and our emotional activity. And a level which is much higher is called in Tantra causal level, the level of causes. And from this level, actually, the seeds of our personality are planted, our destiny, our karma, as it is called now, and it's a concept that many persons know it. It's structuring somehow the path in life and some major lessons that we have to go through. And basically, to awaken this awareness about this fundamental energy of Shakti, we can start from the easiest part, which is the physical level. And thus, in manifesting this great energy within us, we need a clean body, which is very healthy. And already, if it is clean, pure, and healthy, becomes beautiful by itself, in which the attributes of femininity are manifested. And with this, of course, I can speak quite a lot about the need of vitality, about the need of being relaxed, about the need to completely eliminate the sources of stress of one's life, and in this way to come back to be bountiful person, which is full of energy. And thus the physical structure of such an awakened woman is radiant and charming and emanates plenitude, abundance, and radiates this energy. And even people don't know anything about the concept of Shakti and so on, they all admire radiant, beautiful, bountiful women, and everybody knows like what a woman that person is and reacts to that, exactly proving that they are touched by this Shakti force inside. So a constant high energetic level, and also this general state of health and balance, and also with the acceptance of the physical body and with the respect for the physical body. They are all part of manifestation of this force on physical and energetic level. And when I say respect for the physical body, I actually understand to take care of it and to give the proper diet and the proper exercise, and to also not starve one's physical body just to look like a skinny supermodel because that's the fashion, but also not indulge into overeating and be an obese little whale there, even though we all love whales, but still a harmonious feminine body is needed in order to actually give the confidence and to give the energy and to give the stability. And that would be the step 4, awakening and working with the state of Shakti on the physical and energetic level. And we have some tantric tools. I will just go very briefly through them. So physical postures that build up the hatha yoga part, asanas as we call them, exercises of breathing, pranayama, relaxation, and anything that leads us to a stress-free life. They are very important tools for balancing the Shakti state on physical level. Then anything that involves the awareness of the body, like dance. And I put it Shakti dance to exactly not limit it, because if I would say just belly dance, then they will come the women who love erotic dance or pole dance or I don't know what kind of other dance, and they would say tango, for example, is such a feminine dance and also so polarizing. So everything in which you are fully aware about your body, you can use it as a form of awakening Shakti on the physical level. Proper diet, regular exercise, swimming is highly recommended, is part of this tantric tool for awakening the Shakti on energetic level, and regular purification of the physical body through different treatments, starting from the skin and starting with pampering oneself in the spa and also taking care of the hair and nails and everything, and going through really yogic purifications once in a while. So we will move faster forward because we don't have so much time left. As we speak about Shakti, the state of Shakti manifested at astral level, which is emotions and thoughts. And in this level of emotion and thoughts, we have for each and every woman a unique combination of her qualities. Like every woman manifests goodness and kindness and gentleness, tenderness, playfulness, sensuality, spontaneity, all the list you have it there on the screen in a unique way. And all these values of femininity, unfortunately, in our masculine world, are a little bit suppressed because we value competition and we value who's the best and we value to win at any cost. That's not a Shakti approach. A Shakti is a mother who takes care of all aspects and will not favorize only a very potent child and will expel or will neglect somebody who is in need of care and attention and consideration. On the contrary, this Shakti nature is the capacity to love um, unconditionally, the capacity to devote oneself, to surrender, to manifest compassion and generosity, the nurturing nature, exactly like the great mother nature, feeds us all and holds us all. And together with this tolerance, understanding, intuition, intelligence, humbleness, all these kind of virtues, they are all manifestation of state of Shakti on the astral level. And every woman is kind of a unique combination of all these. And then we have some tantric tools for this, awakening the Shakti on the astral level. Besides pranayama and asanas, which reach to the astral level, we also have suggestions and certain types of meditation and everything that you know about cultivating the benefic attitude and working with the subconsciousness, working with crystals, precious stones, being part of Shakti circles, Shakti groups, tribes, however they are called, in which women come together and by admiring each other, they share qualities. And that's a great value of such groups. And then, of course, the last part, the very high spiritual level called causal level, a Shakti, a woman awakened on this very high level, it's actually almost a spiritual woman with magical power to transform herself and also to influence and transform people around. This is a woman who inspires and awakens and makes the other want to give their best and to become the best version of themselves as well. And such a woman has, of course, an unshakable faith in the supreme consciousness, however she calls it, God or supreme or absolute or however, but also an overwhelming love for this supreme aspect and the constant aspiration to put this spirituality on the first place in her life. And then we have the next step. Where was I? So we were in the step number 4 with this state of Shakti on the highest level. Step number 5, it is after learning all this, one woman should become the role model of what she learned. That's the point. It is not enough to attend seminars. It is not enough to hear about it. Always a spiritual woman is the one who actually shows her own example and becomes or manifests at the height of her initiation all the time. She's an alive example of spirituality and not just a story about it. And then step number 6 is a big insurance to everybody who hears us now that everyone can become a Shakti and blossom in a wonderful manifestation of the Supreme Goddess. And of course, I hear all the time questions like, I have family, I have 3 kids, I have husband, I have mother-in-law, I have obligations, I have a career, I have however, how can I also be a Shakti? And the answer is, in the moment that you are this magical woman that actually influences everything around and the entire universe is kind of like at your feet, definitely your family will be harmonious and your career and your interaction with the others and your relationships will reflect this. And on the contrary, when you neglect yourself, believing that if you sacrifice for the other, the things will go good, actually you will go more and more into stress and frustration and will end up ruining relationships, family, career, and other things because of tiredness and stress and unfulfillment and unhappiness. So this modern, wonderful goddess somehow naturally becomes a perfect mother, wife, sister, daughter, career woman, and so on, because her intuition and confidence and mental power and love do really create miracles. And then finally, the 7th step, the tantric tradition says that above those who don't know, there are those who study, and that's why in our steps you hear about and then you go into a organized course, study and learn about. Above those who read are those, or study are those who understand, and attention, about those who understand are those who apply. And by applying, you obtain results, and obtaining results, you actually prove that this path of awakening the goddess within, it's valid and it exists. So, and with this, I kind of invite also questions from our wonderful women that listen, and I will leave on the screen this beautiful quotation that is from Devi Gita, I think it's called. It's one of our favorite in the Tantra for Women courses, in which it says that it doesn't exist any jewelry superior to the Shakti state, to this power. It doesn't exist any treasure that you can accomplish from outside, but only this power that you can awaken within, and thus your entire life will be just a symphony of fulfillment and beauty.